The first project we're starting with are the little Valentine's Day coloring cards. So first I typed into Google butterfly coloring page, and I'm just going to find one that I like. Once I find one, I'm going to save it to my computer, and then we're able to jump on over to Cricut Design Space. Perfect. So now that I'm in Cricut Design Space, the first thing I want to do is upload that image to here. So we're going to go on the left-hand side under the button that says upload and just press on that. Then we're going to press upload image and then browse. Now make sure you press on that picture that we just downloaded. It should be your most recent download in the download folder on your computer. Perfect. So now that that is there, we do have a couple options, but for today's video, we're going to press on simple right here. And then we're going to press continue at the bottom in green. And now what we need to do is just select all of the things between the lines. So we're making it essentially a clear background and we just want the lines there. It's okay if you accidentally mess up and press the line. You can actually hit the undo arrow right here. So that is a really helpful little tip because sometimes you do kind of nick the line and then it disappears. Before you go and continue, make sure you hit preview cut image just to ensure that all of those parts are gone and it is just in fact the lines. And then you can continue. Now select cut image, that's good, and upload. So now we're going to just press on that image and then hit add to canvas. Okay, wonderful. So now that's added, but there's still a problem. We want this to be with the draw function on our pen with our Cricut. And on here it says basic cut. So how we change that is we go here to the drop down bar at the top where it says basic cut, and we are able to change it under draw. It says pen. So select pen, and now you see the lines changed a little bit. And it just is telling the Cricut that we're wanting to draw that part instead of cut it out. And now I know it was successfully done because on the right-hand panel, it's saying that it is pen. So we will see as the project goes, we may have to go in and change a couple more things here and there like that. So the next thing I want to do is set up my template for my card and my cardstock. So my Cricut knows where to cut out the actual card. So I'm just getting a square and changing it to a rectangle. I'm a very visual crafter, so I decided to change the color of the cardstock in the back. And now I'm just adding the text that I wanted to add to my Valentine's Day card. So I'm writing, "You make my heart flutter." I know, cheesy. And then I'm going to choose a font that I like. Now with the font, you will find the same thing, that it automatically sets it to basic cut on that right-hand panel. You can see that there. And we want this part to draw out as well because I don't want my machine to start cutting out letters on my card. So I just go to that same drop-down menu at the top of the screen under the word basic cut, and I'm just going to select pen again. So anytime I want to change it to the draw function on my Cricut machine instead of cut, that's what I'm going to do. And then maybe I accidentally do that and I want to change it back to cut. You just hit that same drop down and instead you're going to select basic cut. So that's kind of the way to work between there. A great little tip is when you are making something like the card where my machine needs to know what places to draw, what places to cut, and I don't want it too close, using this align button up here is really helpful. One, to get everything just very straight and flush because you don't want, well, maybe you do, but for me, I don't want a card that's kind of lopsided. It'll look a little funky, and that's not the look I'm quite going for. So hitting that align button is very helpful. You can hit align horizontally, vertically, to the left and right, and you'll see me use it throughout this tutorial, which I find it really handy for things like this. So I'm just adding all of the wording and making sure that it's all set to pen so that it draws. And then I had to go in and think of a way to be able to fit a pen, pencil, or maybe some type of candy, maybe a lollipop, we'll see what happens, into the card. So my idea with it is that I'm able to kind of pop open part of it and slide a crayon or a lollipop through there. So what I came up with was taking this kind of equals sign in the shapes on the left-hand side here, So you're going to press shapes, and then I selected the equal sign, and I shrunk it down a little bit. I did try to make the line, so the gray part is what's actually going to cut out, and then the clear part in the middle is going to be the cardstock that's just there. So I'm going to duplicate it and just do one on each side. I do go in and align them to make sure they're both straight and just align them by the bottom there. That way they are equal. And those I'm going to leave as a basic cut because I do want those to be cut out. Perfect. So that is done. They are centered and aligned, so that's perfect. That's the way I wanted it. The last step with this card before we're ready to actually make it is the most important step, and that is making sure that you attach this together. So what the attach button will do in this situation is tell the Cricut machine exactly where to draw it, and then afterwards where to cut it. If you do not hit attach, it might cut it out across the middle of your card, across a random part of the page nowhere near the drawing. It doesn't understand where you want it to cut out. And I want it to cut out around this little pink rectangle here to make the card. So when you hit attach, make sure to highlight the whole thing here. So I'm going to highlight it all, and then I'm going to hit the attach button. And the colors are going to change a little bit. That's okay. It's just telling me that it's all attached as one. And as you can see on the right-hand side, we still have it broken down into basic cut and pen. And my Cricut will recognize which one is which, so we don't need to worry about that. I will show you how it does recognize it. So now we're ready to hit make it on the top right-hand side. And if I am going too fast over any of this, feel free to pause at any point and go back if you need to. When I watch tutorials, I like to do it along with the person, so I will pause, do the step they just said, and then press play, watch the next step, and then do that step myself. So that's how I like to do it, but I know people learn in a lot of different ways. So whether you're just sitting back and learning that way, or if you're actually doing it with me, feel free to pause, rewind, fast forward. I will leave chapters down below so you do know where to kind of go if you need to skip ahead or go back. And feel free to let me know in the comments down below if you need me to explain something in more details and clarify, or go a little slower or faster. I never know. Sometimes I get told to go a little bit slower, so I've been trying to do that lately and really just go step by step. But I also don't want to take too long that it's boring. So I try my best, but let me know down below. Okay, so we're ready to make it. And I really want to show you this part because the Cricut knows what to do at this point. So we are going to first load the cardstock. So what we need to do is take our mat, and I'm just applying the cardstock to it. I have a 12 by 12, just regular cardstock. With this, make sure to change your settings. So I'm changing it to light cardstock. You can also do it manually on Cricut Design Space under materials and then select cardstock. I think that's probably the fan favorite way to do it, but I honestly just prefer to use the little toggle on my Cricut machine. Not all Cricuts have that option, which is why I'm saying you might want to manually do it. So this is how you use the pen. You're going to open up the one that says Port A. It just unclips open. You're going to slide in the pen and then close that clamp back up. Now I am ready to load my Cricut, so I wait until the arrow is there, and I'm going to press it, and then it will start flashing with the C, so you're going to press it, and that's going to tell the Cricut I'm ready to go. Okay, so right now you can see that my Cricut Design Space here says drawing, and I wanted to show you that part because it will automatically cut after. I don't have to press anything else, and I will show you that. So now it's just doing its little thing, and I obviously sped it up because I didn't want you to have to sit there and watch it draw for as long as it did. The drawing can take a little bit sometimes, especially if you're doing a very intricate design. And as you saw, it automatically just switched from drawing, and then it went right to cutting. So it's really cool how it does that, and it knows what to do because we hit that attach button, which is why it's so important. Otherwise, it might have just cut across my entire page, maybe cut my drawing in half. So that attach button is so important. I have forgotten it before, and then it ruined the projects that I made. So definitely, if you remember anything from that tutorial, hit the attach button at the end before you go in and cut. Okay, I totally forgot to hit record on my camera when I unloaded the mat and then peeled the cardstock off, but all I did was just popped out this part of the cardstock because it had already been cut by my Cricut machine. And I'm just kind of showing you what I did because I realized I wasn't filming. And I'm just going in and weeding out, which means removing the parts we don't want, which are those little equal sign lines where we're going to slide the crayon and the lollipop into. So we're going to kind of scrape that out of there. Pop those out. Perfect. So that's what the card's going to look like. This is so simple, honestly. It seemed really intimidating to me at first, and I just did a little trial run in this tutorial and it ended up working well. So I have a little lollipop here, and then I'm just going to slide in, and my little idea worked really great. Like, look how wonderful that fits in there. So you could definitely put a little treat in there, like a lollipop, if you're gifting it to a classroom, for example. But I think the fan favorite with these type of things is a crayon or a couple of crayons, and then the children or whoever you gift it to can actually color in that picture at the top, which was why I looked up the whole coloring page thing. And then it makes it like a fun little card that they can actually color in themselves. I feel like it's such a great little budget-friendly hack because you can buy these on Cricut Design Space. I believe they're just under $6, but it was so easy for me to do myself. If I look back at the footage, it took me about 15 to 20 minutes to do, which sure, maybe you don't have that time to, just take and make it, so maybe spending that money is worth it to you, but for me, it was so easy to make this.